Welcome to another episode of The Path to You. I am joined with Patrick Ray, P. Ray. I mean, I just call you P. Ray, so
it works.
Whatever you want to be called as, you can introduce yourself. But Pat, how did you get to this point in your life?
How did I get to this point in my life? Well, Southwest Flight 970 brought me yesterday from Chicago.
Not sponsored, but would like to be.
Hey, let's get some flight credits, please. And then what's crazy is 15 years ago, a Southwest flight from Oakland, California to Chicago is what brought me there. So I've lived in the Midwest the last 15 years of my life. I went to high school and grew up in the same island city as this beautiful creature right here. And yeah, I'm back for my mom's turning 70, my cousin's getting married, and had a great chance to come here and connect with Lonnie and, you know, give a little insight to the people and just talk.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of the series, so I'm like stoked to be on here.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about how you were kind of in this career path and then it stopped.
Yes.
Kind of abruptly out of the blue, and then what's next? Like, you know, what was that kind of abruptness like? And you said it took 2 months to focus on your mental health. What did that look like?
Honestly, it felt like a breakup. So it was at a job that I really found awesome purpose in, and didn't realize until after the fact when one of my friends kind of pointed out, but almost made part of my identity, and was so caught up in that you know, I really. And also, I mean, in terms of the company as well, like it was, you know, you kind of get this like golden boy mentality, like not in a bad way, but you're just like, yeah, like we're doing this, I'm doing this. And I got like recognized as one of the top 3 employees, and then went on vacation, and then was laid off the following Friday. And it was like the rug gets pulled out from underneath you. And so just really the last, 6 months have really been a matter of kind of like finding my passion and wondering, does lightning strike twice? Am I able to get back into something that I love as much as I did?
Yeah.
And then in terms of like mental health, really kind of like focusing on, you go through the stages of grief where I was mad, I was sad, I was upset, I was okay with it, and then really trying to find that next chapter.
Yeah.
And be okay with kind of like with what comes. And it's really interesting how in times of need and in times of vulnerability, how certain people really show up and how certain people seem to fade away, and kind of me understanding the importance of showing up always for people. Yeah.
It's like you said, in times of need, when you're most vulnerable, you'll see who stays and who goes.
100%.
And it's hard, but it's a blessing at the same time.
Very true. And it's one of those where it's like, and that's where a genuine relationship can start. It's where an already genuine relationship can be nurtured. And it's where a perceived genuine relationship, the cracks can really show. And you start to learn, can we withstand this? Is my load too much for someone else to bear?
Right.
So it's, and people, there's ebbs and flows. I think people come in and out of your life.
Right.
But, you really, sometimes those people that really step up, it's more of a help than I think they even understand.
Right.
It's almost a peace of mind for sometimes even just being a distraction for somebody else.
Yeah.
Kind of like that baby being a distraction right now.
I was like, focus on P. Ray.
It's all good. I'm like, hey, baby. So, but yeah, so that's also, I think, the part that's really interesting. But I think that also, relying on other people, but I think that there also becomes a big dependency on relying on yourself. And being able to take what's in here and give yourself appropriate measures to be able to lay your own cards on the table personally, and almost play a game of solitaire and figure out, what do I need to move here, here, and here to make sure that I win.
Yeah. That's such a good analogy.
And sometimes you might get stuck, but it's a matter of undo this move, put it here, but at the end you want to get your cards all up there and all in order.
Right.
And who knows if we ever really do.
Yeah. And what does that even mean?
We are still growing up. We were talking. Look at me just like talking to the camera like this, like a talk show.
It is.
But it's so interesting because we were talking about the fact that we're here and we're in our 30s and how, you know, from us graduating high school, we've literally lived a lifetime up until that.
Yeah.
You know, we did a little pre-key. So there's the key, and then we did a pre-key. So that's like if you get together and you want to like hang out before the hangout, it's when you call up that one friend before the group function.
Yes.
You know, that pre-key.
Yes.
But yeah, you know, and just kind of like talking about how it's so crazy how even, you know, with where we are in life, it's still a matter of figuring it out. And I feel like we could probably sit on this very patio in 20 years and probably rehash in a very similar way. Damn.
Yeah.
We are still
We've
figuring
lived
this
2
out.
lifetimes.
Yes.
There's 3.
Yes.
Yes.
Hopefully 4.
Yeah.
Shoot, find me at the buffet. You know, like,
It's not there anymore.
What?
Wait, which buffet?
Any buffet.
Okay.
We go to Old Country in San Leandro. Like, I'll meet you there. Then
Yes.
we'll go to Costco afterwards.
Yes, you get a hot dog,
Oh.
fruit smoothie. Yep.
Do you shop at Costco? For individual?
No,
Okay.
for family.
Family.
Yeah.
My parents always go to Costco. Go to Costco. The hell am I going to do with 18 rolls of paper towels up in this household?
Yeah.
You are out of your mind.
Yeah.
Go to Costco. Well, no. But I will tell you, in college, I used to take the bus down to Costco. I had that membership card. And when you need some food and you're broke,
Yes.
hit those sample tables, wear a hat, flip it around.
Oh, yes.
Sweatshirt, take it off, tie it
Yeah.
around your waist. Fully fed.
I was gonna
Fully
say
fed.
you could get a full-on burger for $5. That's apparently grass-fed and organic at Costco now.
It's been a minute. It used to be that $1.50 hot dog,
Yep, still
that
there.
soft serve, and that like whole pizza for like
Yep.
$4. And you're like, the fuck? Oh, is this monetized?
okay. It's
I'm like, I'm not trying to get you demonetized by
No,
YouTube.
All good.
Oh my gosh. Sorry if any children are watching.
No, I don't think so.
I promise
And
I
it's
was
okay.
raised better.
It's just a word.
Hey, see, I'm one of those people that does not remember much from high school. Who was the lady, the teacher that lived? I remember some, but who was the teacher that lived across the street from the school?
Miss Maddie.
Miss Maddie, and I loved her.
'Cause she
Not
cursed
enough
up the
to remember
store.
her name, but I loved her because she said, "Fuck is my favorite word."
I
She said,
remember
"If
that.
you write an essay and you feel like you need to use that word, you use it." I didn't, but I wish I did.
Yeah. Miss Maddie was awesome. She was my Kairos retreat adult leader.
There we go. Is Cairo still up and going? Is that that's still
I
like
think it's only 3 days now, but
okay?
yeah, still going.
Needed. That was good. Kairos was good.
That's something that I wanted to talk to you about is, you know, we're talking about our parents earlier and how you're having to school your dad
Totally.
on what it's like to be a white male in this day and age.
Cis, straight, white, male.
Yeah.
You are 72,
Right.
and I am having to break down privilege to you.
Right.
I'm acknowledging on camera, I have cis, white, male privilege. I get that.
Yeah.
And, you know, and so it's one of those things that, like, understanding that and understanding how to break that down. But yeah, and it's kind of crazy for our parents' generation, you know, like, they're voting on initiatives and stuff that are led by people and they might not understand certain things or, you know, why representation matters and, oh God, does representation matter?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So looking back into the school frame and what we're taught, social emotional learning is almost like integrated into the school day where it's like, okay, this fight happened, this is how we fix this. But should there be a full-on class on social emotional learning? Whether it's grade school, high school, throughout your time in school.
it's tricky because to have a class on social emotional learning would have to mean that everybody would receive that lesson in the same way. In the same way people walk through life with different privilege, people, and especially in high school and formative years, there's different maturity levels. And there's also different maturity levels based on lifestyle and what you've had to go through. You know, some people had to grow up a lot faster, whereas some people were maybe able to have their childhood protected a little bit longer. I think man, that's a really tricky question. I think that maybe a class might not be it, but I think that could be something that in terms of guidance counseling could be something that would be like a good primary focus. I know that for me personally, I didn't get a lot of that. I made it I literally, had no desire to go to college because I just never felt supported as a student. And I had a lot of friends that excelled and were super academic. And at 17, when I'm still figuring things out, I knew that I had a personality and a drive. And my deal was like, I don't see where school is the result of that.
Right.
I am a college graduate, and I ended up, when I was able to actually get out of St. Joe's and go and do it on my own and kind of figure out the school system and really find a path that worked for me.
Yeah.
But I think that that's something that I wish that I think that it's important to have that, and I think that for adult leaders, especially for children in their formative years, should be able to assess a child and also speak to children, talk to kids, ask them what are you into and how can I help that work for you, and really be a positive person in their formative years. I almost felt as a kid written off when I said that I didn't want to go to college. I didn't feel like I met at St. Joe's. I didn't feel that I met the needs of what they wanted in terms of alumni rate going off to colleges. I wasn't helping their percentage.
Got it.
Real talk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I remember it was very clear where I don't remember who my guidance counselor was or what her last name was. I can see her office. But it was like going there and there was just like very little, and meanwhile, what's so crazy, and this is like what I talked to my parents about, I was working at the Hallmark store on Park Street, and I'd get bored with Tracy, if Tracy watches. What up, Tracy? But we would get bored and I would do the windows there and merchandise the windows, and we ended up winning an award for the Park Street Business Association when I'm 17, and nobody even explained to me that there was like School of the Art Institute across the bay, that there was FIT over in San Francisco, that there were avenues that I probably could have taken as a creative.
Right, that are still college.
I would have still had a degree, and I was able to take, no one ever, I went to DePaul, again, sorry for that.
No need to say sorry.
I went to Chicago and I have my degree in broadcast journalism and was able to be like, oh, okay, cool. So you can talk on camera. Why don't you get a degree in it? So it's one of those that I felt like I just wish that there's something more of like asking kids what they're into. Like my nephew, he is 13, he'll be 14 in November, and he's not the biggest scholar. Yeah. But he lives down in Monterey and he's into sailing and he's into marine life and marine biology, and that's a product of where he's from, and it's like, I'm not going to tell this kid, hey, your grades are, you and biologists, I don't see it. However, no shade if he's watching this like years from now. But I think that it's when I pull up and I'm like, here's youth internships at Monterey Bay Aquarium that you could do. Yeah. Here's sailing programs at school. When you look at college, don't even maybe think of it on an academic level, like find something that you think that you might be interested in, but see other ways that you can thrive and flourish. Totally. So I think that that's one of those ways. And also emotional processing for kids, I think that that's another thing that maybe that class could be good. It's so tricky. And I mean, with the stuff that they have out there that they can watch, they can pull up Love and Hip Hop, anything like that, where it's just like,
it's not feeding that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's where it's at, and that's entertainment, and I'm guilty of watching that, but it's, how do we just teach these kids that if there is a fight, your moral compass needs to be to try to break it up rather than pulling out your phone and shouting World Star.
Right. Yeah.
That's the crazy thing.
Yeah. It's how can I be of service, not how can I make money off of or get famous from or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And not even making money, and not even the type of good fame.
Yeah.
When we were younger, it was like you didn't have all these crazy options. If you were one of 16 lucky people put on either Real World or Road Rules or whatever, you made it. We didn't have Survivor. We didn't have all that. That all came
or social media.
Or social media.
Like Instagram famous.
Exactly. So it's like, in Instagram famous, it's like, there's a book that I read, and I think it was by a guy named Chuck Klosterman, and this was probably 10, 12 years ago, that kind of broke down reality fame very early on, and I love it because he read it so hard. Read is, you probably know what that means, when you call it out. And he just said, he's like, that reality fame, that Instagram fame, that fast fame is the type of fame where you get recognized in a Taco Bell, but you're still eating at Taco Bell. You are not big ballin'. You know, you're flexing on, you know, for 40,000 followers, you're getting a free anorak sent to you from a startup brand. Right. My old job might have dressed you for an event. I might have dressed you for an event. You know, like, but at the end of the day, it's like you are still out there chasing paper. And honestly, you need to hope that your aesthetic just holds up, because when that engagement rate drops, so does your income.
Right. Well, let's look at like the Kardashian family.
Yes.
That is the what is it? The royalty of reality TV.
And you could even, what's so sick is you could probably even call them the royalty of America.
Which is really unfortunate.
I mean, yeah.
I would like to prefer the Curry family as the royalty of America.
We do. Hey, listen, we love the Curry family. I mean, you know, I mean, it's the Kardashians are so interesting, though, especially when you look at it on a pop culture sphere, because when we were in college, like, I love it. I know that we're in like the era of the good girl, but let me take you back to baby gay Patrick. Listen, I was living for a Hollywood bad girl. Like, I remember being in Thailand.
Lil' Kim is your wifey.
Lil' Kim is, and she even predates, because Lil' Kim, we can go into women in hip hop on a whole.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about Lil' Kim, especially all you little Nicki Minaj fans out there that think that your girl's out here running shit.
Yeah.
Take all the seats.
Yep.
But we'll go into that.
Yeah.
And she knows. What's so crazy to me is when I look back and you look at Hardcore came out in 97 and it was 98 when I like first like fell in love and bought Hardcore.
Yep.
And I didn't like, it's one of those where I'm like, yes, I've been with that Kim journey from jump. I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, like, you know, you had like the Paris Hiltons and the Nicole Richies and all that. And what's so crazy is like, I remember when Kim Kardashian first popped up on the scene, literally there was when Nicole and Paris started fighting and Paris brought her assistant. And we used to joke and be like, is Kim K coming? Before we knew who she was, before Ray J, like we would just joke around because we were like, oh, who's this girl that organized Brandy's closet? What? You know, and this is back when Brandy had that Cinderella coin, so you know Kim had some things to play with, some fashions. But yeah, and now you look at where it's at, and even like, I'll tell you, like I ride for Kylie. Like I remember like just like going to Walgreens for the past 5 years and like looking at tabloid covers, and like I remember when I was like, this little girl did her lips. This little girl has blue hair. This little girl's doing Kim better than Kim does Kim. You know, and it's like, and now she's on track to be a billionaire, you know, and the makeup industry, the YouTube, what this is going on, the platform that this is launching and people being able to be self-made off of this, you know, I mean, it's like you get a little bit of coin and then once you take it, I mean, makeup industry, it is insane, you know, so it's like when you take it back to the Kardashians, it's like, it sucks, you know,
what sucks about it?
Maybe it sucks that we're just programmed to think that it's a bad thing. You know, I mean, I will say, you want a business class on how to turn, you know, not necessarily rags into riches, but, you know, really like hustle. Look at Kris Jenner.
Right.
She's putting all her babies out there, 10%. So she is living well, but literally each and every one of them is getting fed. They've all got their business ventures. They're all kind of attacking a different area. So maybe I need to take that back. You know, like prayers for Rob. I think that there's certain things, I do think that I think that how they control their narrative can sometimes be, you know, they can exploit.
Right.
But yeah.
Right.
I don't know, it's interesting, you know, it's is that America, that hustle, that quick hustle, you know, I mean, I guess, get rich, die trying. I mean, what's different than, you know, if you go back, look at Hamilton, you know, look at any of that, it's, you know, that's always been the mission. It's just how are we doing it? How does it shape itself?
Right. And is that the mission or the narrative that we want to continue to have?
I don't know if that's a narrative that'll ever change, because with wealth comes power, and with power comes privilege. Right.
But it's how do you navigate that power and that privilege? I was just listening to a talk yesterday. Do you know Aubrey Marcus? He's the CEO of Onnit. He's kind of like this spiritual, I won't say guru, but he's a really all-encompassing kind of person. He does workshops on love. He does workshops on like mastermind, business. He's almost like Tony Robbins, but on the psychedelic plant medicine side.
Okay.
Really interesting guy. He gave a talk that I listened to yesterday about people hear the word power and they automatically think that it's a negative thing?
See, I've never associated power with a negative. I always view it as that's leadership. It's being, to me, just being self-aware, self-confident. That's power.
But then when we were saying, you know, you have wealth, with wealth comes power, and with power comes privilege.
Yes.
That sounds very like a negative route.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. I mean, and this is something that, I mean, it's, I'm like, let me put these words right. Let me let this iced coffee. It's, yeah, with a negative connotation. I think it's a negative connotation though with where we're at.
Right.
You know, and I think that you get a lot of people where they're throwing around the word privilege like it's a bad thing.
Right.
I have white privilege, but I'm not mad that I'm white.
Right.
The fact that me saying that could be controversial.
Sure.
I don't know anything else though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I also respect though learning and the lessons that you take with it, you know? I mean, and also navigating, you know, kind of like what does that mean to kind of take what your privilege is and how do you put that out into the world and, you know, not abuse it and also help enhance someone else's.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's a tricky line to walk, and I feel like it's one of those that you can probably talk circles in. Sure. You know, I don't think that there ever is any sort of like resolution or answer on that. I think that what it comes down to, whether it is the money, wealth, privilege, power, it comes down to an inherent moral compass and how you choose to respond to those things and act on those when those become cards that you can play.
Right.
And even that though gets taken, moral compasses are built on what you are conditioned from.
Right.
And how you were raised is also very different.
Right.
And someone that comes from a place of privilege, you know, is sometimes able to maybe not be as confrontational or level-headed. You know, it's so, yeah, it's one of those that it's an endless conversation, but it's conversations that are important and good to have across race, sexuality, gender, you know, and really be able to break down. And I think that once you're able to understand somebody else's story and narrative and how they navigate life, then that's going to help you when you get that power, when you get that money, when you understand your privilege and how that can work with it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that you're seeing that. I think that, you know, I'm loving seeing these videos you know, of people where people, you know, anybody that's being, you know, wrongly messed with by a customer in a Walmart and, you know, as a white person stepping in and being like, hey, you know, like, if you're going to arrest them, arrest me too, because they're not doing anything. Here's my phone, like, what were they doing?
Yeah.
What were they doing? You know, so kind of knowing where and when you can step in and be a valuable asset to society and to, you know, other people.
Yeah. And as someone who is white, how did you come into the space of where you are, knowing that you need to or not need to, but want to recognize that you are privileged and that you want to be there for those who feel not as privileged? Yeah,
you know what it was is honestly, I mean, what's interesting is the concept of when you look at privilege and then you look at the other side, which is being othered. And one of the nice things, I mean, this is, being candid, like when I moved out to Chicago, I was able to live my authentic life where that was where in high school, people were telling me that I was gay before I even, you know, like, you get it, but there's just other things that come with it other than just, you know, who you're attracted to and kind of like how you navigate life and where sexuality and all that comes about. And so what's really nice, I mean, and in, you know, cities across the country, you kind of find, when I use the word ghetto, I don't mean it in terms of like hood or anything like that. Like, I mean, like a gay ghetto, like that's the gayborhood. You know what I'm saying? Where you find other people that are your age that are kind of like navigating life at the same time as you. And what's really nice is by growing up in a very multi-ethnic, you know, place like the Bay Area, I was almost able to get that pass in the Midwest from people that maybe hadn't had those white friends. But by doing that, you know, like a lot of my friends have been, you know, I have friends across multi-races. I have friends that are transgender, you know, and so kind of watching their experiences and even the flack that they get. You know, one of my good friends, she is a African American transgender rapper. Her name is Casey Ortiz. Check her out. She literally just got picked up by Red Bull to do the like Red Bull Sound series.
Wow.
She has been flown to Germany to perform. She's been featured by Out Magazine, and she is from like Mobile, Alabama, grew up with nothing, super religious, ex-military, and seeing how she's been able to build herself up, and then I see how I grew up, it's one of those where you have no choice but to understand privilege. This is no shade to the 5 of us that grew up on Bay Street, but literally 5 of us in our class, 4, 5. Well, Alex lived 1 block over, so we'll include her. Literally lived within 2 blocks of each other, and all 5 of us drove the 7 blocks to school. You know what I'm saying? And what was our normal, when you get out there in the real world, you learn is so abnormal. You know, and so that's where you take those things and you inherently learn, because I'm not going to say that when you first hear the term white privilege that that's not a hard pill to swallow. Because you're like, I have problems too. I get, you know, I don't get everything as easy, but you don't understand what somebody else goes through. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I don't know what it's like to navigate life as a black male. I don't know what it's like to navigate life as someone who's biracial. I don't, you know, I mean, it's one of those that and so by learning that and learning how to respect that and learning what the perceived understanding is important. You know what else was a big eye-opener too, which was really interesting, was I had a job that I hated, and I quit cold turkey. I was like, I can't do this. I'm getting like crazy anxiety, and was like, you know what? I'll land on my feet. I'll figure it out. I've got stuff saved up. And so to pass time, I went and got a job at World Market in Chicago. This is about 3.5 years ago. And I was there from maybe like October through January, and I was hourly. I was holiday help. I made $10 an hour. And I was one of the few able-bodied younger people, so I was doing a lot of like the manual labor, but I was of no special circumstance. I was literally just an hourly employee. The amount of customers that would come to me before one of my coworkers, the amount of people that assumed that I was in a position of power, and I'm like, that's above my pay grade. Like, I make $10 an hour, like, you got me messed up. Also, the way that they spoke to some of my coworkers. And listen, I'm very me. Listen, like Tom Ford eyewear, and I'm wearing those to my $10 an hour job, and it is what it is. And it's funny too, when you get this like totally privileged, out of touch person who's speaking down to you because you work at World Market, so you must not be shit. And then they clock that your eyewear costs more than their Coach bag. And you say, right, sis, so let's rewind this. Okay, so everything that you just thought in terms of you being better, you know nothing about my situation. So it's interesting. So I mean, there's those little elements that always kind of take you, and you know, and you understand that. You know, there was also, oh my God, what was it called? There was a movie that just came out about Oakland that was so good though.
There's 2.
What? Not the Thank You for Calling. Blind Spotting. Blind Spotting was so amazing, and I will say this, and this is, I don't shy away from controversy. I really loved, especially like being from, and this is something that navigating the Midwest, which is completely socially different from the West Coast, where we grow up on, I would say the Bay Area, when we grew up, is pretty heavily based in a hip hop culture. You know, I think that that's something that we've always been super aware of. It's something that I love, and you know, I feel like in the Midwest, sometimes I feel somewhat like a unicorn, or did. You know, I think that there's a lot more exposure to that now, but getting out there and being this kid that like dressed somewhat preppy, skater, beach, but listening to hip hop was just so far beyond what these like gingham wearing Midwest white kids, you know, that it was easier for me to assimilate with the white kids because that's what I know, or what I knew. However, culturally, what I enjoyed was just so different. And I thought it was really interesting with the influx of people that are coming to the Bay Area and changing. You can see how much it is changing, and this is not the Alameda or the Bay that I left. And it's interesting when you get these people that are coming here, and some of these people that grew up the way that we did, and they want to tell us when they see us out and about that we're culture vultures. And it's like, what is culture?
This is our culture.
This is our culture. This
Yeah.
is how we grew up.
Right.
Like, don't get it twisted. This is
Right.
California, but this isn't fucking Laguna Beach.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we were 17 going to the spot getting 40s, having our girl Tanya, you could bleep that out if she doesn't want her name on camera, but with that fake ID,
Yeah.
kicking it up on Cherry Road in Hayward.
Yeah.
We did it different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so it's really interesting. So there's that line of, you know, understanding your privilege, but also owning what is your inherent culture and what you know, and being cool and confident in that.
Right.
You know, and I think that when you are able to navigate that, that just makes you a more well-rounded person, and you're able to kind of like, when you're a more well-rounded person, you're able to address other people
Right.
in a better outlook, or, you know, a better disposition, and
Yeah.
be compassionate and empathetic.
Yeah. And it just puts you in a better place in life. You know, like, you're not constantly feeling attacked and judged and angry, because you're able to open up and see things from different sides and different perspectives. So,
And everybody is attacked, and everybody is judged.
Everyone's fighting a battle we know nothing about.
And that, exactly, and that's one of those things that, like, once you figure out, and that is why I preach tolerance. I think that, you know, acceptance, whether, you know, if somebody doesn't like me for religious reasons, I'm not going to dog you on your faith. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not, like, it is what it is.
Right.
But my deal is just let me live, and I'll let you live.
Right.
I think that that's the most important. And I know that there's a lot of people that would, in my community, which, again, and it's so funny that we say my community, because how I go through life is different from a gay black man, is different from a gay or a transgender, you know, Asian, you know, female.
Right.
It's going to be completely different. But, you know, I think that you need to just understand that, you know, everybody kind of has things that are going against them, you know, and just kind of, again, tolerance, you know, like, just, we don't have to, I don't have to love it, but, you know, I can like it.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I don't have to like it, but I can let it be.
Right.
You know, live and let live. And, like, I'm not I'm not taking food out of your mouth, don't take food out of mine.
Right.
I think that that's where, you know, equal rights is something that I think is, you know, definitely important. I don't say no more, no less, but meet someone halfway. And that's kind of like my, you know, the wage gap with women in the workplace. Equal pay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that, should we just go and flip companies and just put women in power?
Right.
Shit, we might get more stuff done. Who knows? But give them a chance, that equal pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, so it's interesting. You know, I think that's where some people are almost demanding acceptance.
Right.
I ask for tolerance.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the easiest way to kind of, like,
It's at least the first step, you know.
100%. You know, I mean, and here's the deal. Like, we're humans. We have judgment. We have air. And just, we're not going to rock with everything. You know, like,
And that's okay.
I think that it is so important to say that it is okay to not like something. It is okay to say that you are not about this, and be okay with that. But
I don't like country.
there we go. You know what I'm saying? But it's one of those where it's like, just, if you're at a country bar, don't sulk and, you know, just be like, this isn't my gig.
Right.
You know, like, just keep it moving.
Yep.
Keep it moving.
Yep.
You know? But yeah, not everybody's going to like everybody.
Right.
You know? I mean, and people are always going to judge based on race, age, body type. We got a bunch of old Russians that live in my building, subsidized housing, and I'm not mad at it, you know, but my deal is just like, you know, about 2-3 times a day in my head, I am cussing them out. Get to the left. You know, like, can you move?
Yeah.
But it's one of those where it's like, you know, and that's where I just have to kind of, like, take myself, check myself, and say, chill.
Yeah.
They're doing the best they can.
Right.
They're walking as fast as they can.
Right.
You are still able-bodied to run for that bus you're about to miss.
Yeah.
You know, perspective. So tolerance.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. So going back to, you know, for those that are intolerant, or for, let's just go right into it, the misogyny, the patriarchy that we're seeing right now is not necessarily the patriarchy that could be possible.
100%. And I think that is, you know, it's a matter of kind of how we're raised and how we're raising our boys. And, you know, there's a term that's out now called toxic masculinity, and I think that it is so true, you know, and as a kid that just like, listen, like I'm 100%, like I'm a boy, you know, like I am a cisgender male. I was assigned male at birth. I am a guy and I enjoy that, and I'm attracted to guys and I like guys that are guys, you know, like, and so it's one of those that, you know, but the toxic masculinity is this kind of, this idea that men can't be sensitive, that men can't wear a certain color, that the way a guy's clothes are gonna fit is indicative of his sexuality. And then even, I kind of hate the term metrosexual, where it's like something that you're almost like special and abnormal because you choose to present yourself in a, you know, clean cut way, or you know, like that you choose to spend time on hygiene or your body and health, or dressing nicely. The fact that that's even something that's not just a cultural norm is insane. And that's something that's inherently American. Or heavily American. I went to London, I was shook. The dudes there dress 10 times better than the women. They're all so well put together. Like, you're just like, this is insane. You know, and for them, that is just culturally how you do it. They just think that there's something to be said about a well-tailored suit. But you know, I mean, I mean, and I think that that's something that's changing. But I think that it's something that's just so inbred in our culture that it's going to be hard to change it, you know. And it's also a matter of, I think that it's delicate because you don't want to push it so far to the other side, where, you know, you're not letting a boy that identifies with sports. I almost wonder, I think that some things are so pro exposure and all this that I almost like hope that, and I don't know if this is the case, but I just hope that little boys that are very sports focused and want to watch wrestling and cars and like dirt aren't looked down upon by parents that are like hoping that they have this super open-minded, fluid child, you know? I think it's a matter of just embracing what someone's into. But I think that for those boys, letting them know that, cool, you lost your soccer game and you're gonna cry, sure. That's okay. The amount of dudes in Chicago that, like, I mean, when the Cubs won the World Series and you see these grown men crying, and I'm like, you are ugly crying on the street right now, looking crazy. But your ass probably hasn't cried in 20 years. Because that's just not what we do, bruh. You know, like, and shit, I'm not a big crier. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, let me tell you, when you do get that cry, ooh, it feels good. So, you know, it's like, you know, or like the fact of like, don't worry about what you wear and don't worry about what you do, and, you know, just do what feels good and what is comfortable. And I think that just as all of us as peers embrace that, that's, I think, the first step to kind of like breaking that down.
Goes back to that tolerance,
and that's what I think is, I think the tolerance is what's going to break the patriarchy, because I think that the patriarchy takes care of themselves, you know, and I think that by us, if we all band together and are cool with it, then they can start to see that they can loosen up, you know, some strings and let other people in. I think that, you know, they're so scared, you know, that once they start to see that there can be harmony outside of it, maybe they'll bring, you know, I don't know.
I think it goes two ways too, though, because it's funny. Tony Gasswent posted something on Instagram about most women look for a man who has money, who has a good job, like all these things that are basically going to take care of them. And I was like, okay, maybe there's a small percentage of women, but I don't think it's most women. But there is that, you know, we do have to raise our boys correctly, but we also have to empower our girls to raise those boys in that way, versus saying you need to be a man, you need to be the breadwinner, and look for that. I mean, in the hunter-gatherer perspective, you have the man who, you know, went out and hunted.
For sure.
The woman took care of the home, but she also was the medicine woman. There was so much more there in these roles, but obviously that's not the world we live in anymore. So I can understand wanting a protector that's kind of innate in many women, and for men wanting to be the protector and the breadwinner.
That comes from ego, though.
Very much so.
And I feel like a post like that, this is not to read Tony. No shade. Your child is beautiful. I stay up on the social. You know, but I think that also comes, I think that guys almost come from a place where they feel less than.
Right.
If they're not able to do that.
Right. He put it out there as a question of like, what do we think of this?
I mean, I think that, like you said, I mean, there's intrinsic, I think that we're always going to want to look for, it's the concept of evolution. When we look for mates, you generally look for people that have, you know, there's certain features, you know, like women are attracted to taller men. If you have a heavier brow ridge, you were able to see further, you know, to watch out for predators. Taller men back in the day were able to reach higher on trees.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's stuff like that. Or the curvaceous female body, you know, like that used to be a sign of fertility, you know, kind of like, so now when you get these, you know, girls who are getting shots and plumping their bodies and doing these crazy where it's like, how are your thighs out to here, but your inner thighs don't touch?
Yeah.
I mean, what is that supposed to symbolize? That you make a great baby?
Right.
Like, you know, like, I mean, are we taking it back to that? Like, I don't even know. But yeah, I think that it's totally okay to want the person that you're with to better your situation.
Sure.
I think that just in terms of like the money, the purses, the cars and all that, I mean, that's where it just comes, what's your gratification?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I would much rather have somebody that's just like, I rock with you, you know, through, you know, thick and thin, I got you. If you need a bag, if you need a purse, shit, go on eBay, save up. Listen, you know, like, and I'll tell you, it's not shit. It really isn't.
Yep.
And it doesn't lead to anything, anything happy.
Yep.
Red bottoms are a scam. I got a pair. You wear them 3 times, the bottoms are done.
No longer red.
My ass is on YouTube watching this girl repaint and shellac the bottoms, and I say, you got me so fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's one of those where it's just like, I don't think that it's a bad thing to, you know, be like, do women want that? Sure. I think that every woman wants to feel special, but I think that above all, from what I've gathered, and my instances in dating men, and being a man myself, is you want to be heard. And I think that that's something with the patriarchy where it's like, don't put so much pressure that you need to provide the money, the bag, and the house. Ask your chick what makes you happy.
Right.
Look into that.
Yeah.
Try to figure it out. Ask her friends.
Yeah.
Ask her parents.
Right. It's going back to the conversations, having conversations.
Conversations are so important because that's how you better navigate. And you can be paper rich, but are you emotionally rich?
Right.
And that is how, and shit, maybe, listen, if you want to gift me something nice, I am not going to say no.
Right.
Listen, I love, and love languages are real.
Right.
My love language one, and this sounds so bad, but it's like gifts, like mementos. I'm the way that I show love is swooping flowers for somebody and like leaving them there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not, like some people like a hug.
Yeah.
Don't touch me. Let me be.
Yeah.
You know, like, but so just kind of understanding that. So I think that like putting that out there and being like, is that what women want? I think that some, and I think that some think that, and I think that it might be also a cultural thing. You know, the same way that there are certain kids where they feel that the only way that they can better their life is to music or sports.
Right.
I think that there are some girls that think that the only way that they can better their life is to date or get pregnant by one of those dudes.
Right. And so at the end, changing that narrative, that's not the only way, that you are more than that.
Be self-sufficient, but look out for that baller as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not mad at that. Like, we got like 5 gay athletes out there, and like, shit, I would date one of them so quick. like, I mean, and that's just very real. I'm on my own career shit, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that sometimes we need to take these things that are seen as taboo, and be okay with it, and be like, you know what? Yeah, that looks all right. I'll be at the sports game. Shit, date a rock star. I can wear some jeans and a t-shirt, look real cute on the side of the stage, bobbing my head like, that's my babe. That's my babe.
Yeah.
You know, like, and then, you know, being like, oh, I got paid. Oh, we got paid?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't think that it's a bad thing. And I think, but, you know, having realistic and understanding that, like, nobody else, even someone that you've been married to for 50 years, like, you've got to take care of number one first, that mental health, talking to other people, making sure that your social interactions, your situations are good, taking it back to what we talked to earlier. when you're in that time of need, being able to have those people that you can reach out to, and when you're out of that time of need, the people that weren't there for you, being okay with walking away from it. Knowing when it's time to maybe like, let me pass on this for a second. Let me close this door. It can be reopened.
Yep.
You don't need to burn the bridge, but you don't need to cross it either.
Right. Right. It can just be there. Maybe you go an opposite way. And maybe you come back that way.
You know, and I think that that's the most important thing as you navigate life through patriarchy, through sexuality, through dating and needs and desires. It all comes back to you, focusing on what's in here, making the best choices for you, but also the best choices for those around you. Because when you're rich, then everybody else is rich. I love this. I got some things, some takeaways. So Iyanla fixed my life. We love Iyanla. I know that not everybody rocks with her, but like I love her when she sits like Sheree from Housewives. Do you watch Housewives?
No.
I know she doesn't watch Housewives. For those of you that watch Housewives, she literally brought this woman and was like, "You have taken 5 years to build this house. At what point are you just gonna stop trying to flex like you've got it?" Anyway, she said this great quote that I love, and she's like, "Sometimes what is in my cup is mine. What overflows from my cup is yours." And it's not selfish, it is self-full. And I love that. If your own cup isn't full, you are going to drain yourself with everybody else around you. You need to focus on number one. And what if my cup overflow? Then we all drink. But I need to look out for number one. And it is not selfish to look out for number one first. It's like when they say when an airplane is going down, put your own oxygen mask on before you put it on for the kid. And I love that, you know, because I think when you think about how to be a good person, a lot of times it's what can I do for others? And I don't think that we ask what can we do for myself? You know? But we need to understand that what other people eat doesn't make us fat. So you've got to look out for number one. You truly do. And whether that's a matter of blooming where you're planted and taking your situation and figuring out how to make the best of it, which happens after you get laid off from a job, or if you are maybe born into a neighborhood where you feel like there's no hope, or you go to a school where you feel like the guidance counselors aren't offering you proper guidance. Bloom where you're planted, figure out what works best for you, have that game plan, focus on number one, and that is how you will get to fulfillment and success. And live that best life.
Because your internal world reflects into your external world. So
absolutely.
If your internal is dry, is not full, is not loved, then your external world will be dry, not full, not loved.
And who wants that?
No.
How dreadful. You know, so
we live in a world of abundance.
Live in a world of abundance.
Everything
and know what abundance is for you. Know what it is for you. It can be that Gucci bag, and if you're really about it, get a Celine. You know, like, you know, but also like having close friends. You know what I'm saying? Like treating yourself to that burrito and not being pressed about it. You know, like really just acknowledging what works best for you, and knowing that, you know, you can go off track, or you can pop off at somebody and, you know, write your course.
And it's okay to pop off on someone.
I pop off on people all the time. So it is like, you know, like not all the time, let me retract that. But, you know, like, listen, like I'm Irish and Italian culturally. You know, I'm like predisposed to being a firecracker. You know, same in high school, I doubt it's going to change going forward. Thank God I didn't get on a damn show at like 18, showing my ass and being like...
We sure did try, though.
I sure did try. And listen, we made it to some points, and very, very happy that did not. Now, if we get some more pro athletes and they start to do... I'm like, you catch me on WAGs, I'll be there. So, yeah, but it's, you know, it's funny. But it's you know, taking it back to what I said earlier, I'm everything I wanted to be when I was 17. I had a general picture of that. I didn't know what it was going to take to get there, or what that journey would entail. you know, but then I think it's a matter of just holding true to that course,
Yep.
you know, and figuring out how to navigate that and all those different elements of everything that we've talked about.
Yeah.
I feel like people's heads are probably spinning where they're just like, what the hell did they just discuss?
So
They
many
have
things.
gone over everything. But yeah, you know, and really just, you know, kind of like dialing it back and just figuring out what works best for you.
Mm-hmm.
I think the main thing, if we were to title this, self-full, not selfish. How to navigate your privilege, your situation, and how to live your best life.
Yep. And whatever your situation is can always change. It's up to you.
100%. 100%. And sometimes it gets better by quitting your job and working at World Market.
Yep.
You know? You get that perspective where it's like, damn, moving couches was a sociology lesson.
Yeah,
You know?
totally. Mm.
And you know that unemployment check from Illinois is higher than the World Market check? It made more sense to not, isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
It made more sense for me to just kick it than to go out and get that job when I got laid off. So it's like, we're employed though. We got that new job. Oh,
What? Anything else? Takeaways? You want to share what you're doing next?
doing next. I am going to a wedding this weekend. I'm about to
Yay.
dance.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, like, I don't know, like, it's like, this is when, like, the Hills credits would roll and Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield would play. I don't know, dude, it's weird. It's a crazy transition. Like I said, my nephew is going into high school. I have another nephew who's 4 months old. This is, like, the first time in my life that I really don't kind of know what's next, and it's scary and exciting.
Yeah.
And it's a challenge that, like, I feel I can meet head on, and I'm stoked.
I'm stoked for you.
Hey. So,
Cool.
yeah.
All right. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at PatrickRay510. You can find me on Facebook at, I think, probably the same. Hit me up on Instagram. Yeah, and it's so funny. I also understand that, like, Instagram flexing is totally just that. Like, a lot of people that are like, your life looks so cool. I'm like, yeah, because I post the best picture that was taken. Like, listen, like, don't get it twisted. I'm 100% like in my bed with like a plate eating a burrito from Chipotle watching Bravo. Like, ain't that cool? You know, so, but yeah, I think Instagram, Twitter, I literally just drink wine and like talk about reality TV. So if you want to laugh, you can follow me, but I'm by no means like an influencer. I think the main thing is honestly just come to Chicago and let's fucking kick it. I'm an in-person like good time kid. So we could hit a bar, we could hit a club, we could do dinner, we like a hotel lobby.
You need to see this guy dance. That's what I'm saying.
We still kick it like that too. That's the other thing about getting older though, is you're like, oh my God, like
I'm the
I
oldest
cannot.
one in here.
You know what's funny though is I still go and take classes,
Nice.
recreational. I will take like a recreational hip hop class. What I love is from being 17 and having to go over to Oakland and try to like, you know, get in on a class where I could. You now are seeing more offerings for dance classes and you're seeing more guys there. And I still love it too, because, and this is where maybe it comes back to toxic masculinity, but I will always in my head compete with the other guys and I still wipe the floor with their ass. I'm still out there just like, Bobby, you know, like, but it's fun, you know, and I think that, finding what makes you, finding what makes you glow, what makes you fulfilled. I mean, I will tell you that. Some people do yoga. For me, when I go and dance, it's like, for an hour, I am just not thinking about the world, and I just know that I'm like having the best time.
Yeah.
Living my best life.
Yep. That's what this is all about.
Yeah.
Living your best life.
I don't know, maybe I need to get a little YouTube
I
or,
think you should.
you know, I think that's probably, I think my biggest prohibitor is I feel like there's so many shoulda, coulda, wouldas of like, and you gotta stop that. That's something I have
Never
to work
too late.
on. I need to keep filling my cup
Yep.
so that my cup can overflow to you.
Yep.
Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you, my friend.
This was great, girl. Let's get a hug for the camera. I'm like, look at that. Oh, this is awesome.
Cool. All right. That's it. Much love.
Bye, guys.
Peace.